podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
This week's pod is supported by Manscaped. Manscaped has just launched in the UK. We've gone years without using the right tools for the job, and now you can be one of the first people in England to experience Manscaped's life-changing products. Manscaped is a skin-safe trimmer for below-the-belt shaving. Their 7,000 RPM motor has quiet stroke technology, and I know you fellas like a quiet stroke. So they tell us that Manscaped's technology will make your testes their besties, and you can get 20% off and free shipping with code NQAT at manscaped.com. That's code NQAT for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com.
So, it's been a weird day, Ed. I'm not going to lie. It
has been. I don't know about you, but I didn't get a lot of sleep.
Nope.
So I told myself, well, look, there's no point. I mean, as regular listeners will know, I have a connection to the States and stuff.
Yep.
So I was like, look, I know, it's not going to get called early. It's going to be long. There's going to be lots of mail-in votes. I don't need to doom scroll Twitter all night long. What did I do?
Did you doom scroll Twitter all night long, Ed?
I did, and I was like, oh no.
It was obviously it's super depressing that the race was close. I mean, where we're at right now, it's 8:00 at night on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday,
I think so.
UK time. And Biden's just won Wisconsin half an hour ago or whatever. That was finally called. So who knows what's happened between then and when you listen to this? Goodness only knows. But last night I only stayed up to about 2, and I was like, right, absolutely no more. And then I woke up about 5. I was like, I'm not looking at my phone, not just because I know I won't sleep at all. And I managed to sleep till 7, so that was pretty good. Because the problem is combining a sort of legitimate interest in hoping the worst global figure of our lifetimes, well, in terms of average power held, is removed from office, and just being a politics nerd, right?
Right.
You grow up a politics nerd, it's hard not to want to follow elections because they don't come around that often. But this morning, just after Biden won Arizona, the difference between reading live blogs on The Guardian and 538 and stuff, and then just having a quick flick through Twitter, the level of misery on Twitter was lads, it's not... This
off the charts.
It doesn't...
Yeah. Who has more doom? Politics Twitter or left Twitter after a disappointing election result, or United Twitter after getting beaten by a third-rate club for the third time in a couple of weeks?
Well, it was very confusing to be flicking through Twitter during the game and just be like, wait a minute, now what are people which one is this that's going, oh, okay, no, thank goodness it's only United being absolutely horrendous.
There was one crazy Trump tweet I responded to from our football account.
Right.
And because he was complaining about it's all changed around. I looked an hour ago, and now Biden's caught up 500,000 votes, and of course they dumped their results in blocks and stuff. And so I just sent him a picture of Ollie scoring against Bayern in '99, saying sometimes things happen late, Don. And I got a response going, if you just stuck to football, you'd have more listeners.
I mean, they're not wrong, are they? If we had just stuck to football, we'd have more listeners. But I would rather have fewer listeners and be able to talk about the things we want to talk about, to be fair.
So from one orange dude to one orange team.
Yeah, what an absolutely awful performance by MUFC. I mean, let's just start with the only reasonable starting point for this game, the concession of what has to be, without any hyperbole, one of the single worst collective pieces of defending in the history of association football.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, who's pulled off the worst result there? The pollsters in the US election, or who should have been? I mean, Nemanja Matic is the closest, and he's 30 yards away from Demba Ba. But normally you put a couple of quick guys at the back, don't you? I mean, where's Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw? Normally you have your fullbacks defending, don't you, from that situation?
Especially when one of them is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Like, why would you need him as part of the attack in that situation? You wouldn't,
look, Matic is never going to do anything in that situation. I mean, he had a really, truly horrendous half there, which he does every single time he's asked to defend on his own with a couple of attacking players ahead of him. I mean, every single time. And so the obvious fix is Scott McTominay. The obvious fix in midfield. Not for the defender, the only pacey defender you've got. Well, one of the only pacey defenders you've got. I don't. Yeah. Anyway, I digress a bit because I'm moving forward in the timeline. But it was horrendous defending. You wouldn't expect it, really, from a decently coached primary school team.
Absolutely not. And it was like a primary school team. They're all just running to where the ball is. And, that is the single easiest through ball in the history of football. Bar is in United's half, not United, like in his own team's half, level with the deep end of the centre circle, and he's got the entirety of the pitch to run into. It's absolutely shocking. And the thing is, the second goal is only marginally less absolutely staggeringly horrific defending.
I mean, they're still all attracted to the ball like flies around, aren't they? I mean, there's not a defender within 30 yards of Visca when he scores. It's incredible. I'm like, what? I mean, because he could have trapped it, passed it to his friend, and they could have, tiki-taka'd it around for a few seconds and then scored. They could have got down on their knees and headed it in, like George Best wanted to do.
Henderson might have saved that, to be fair.
Well, yeah.
He's not at fault for either of those, obviously. You can't expect attackers to be given, 100 yards of space. In Bar's case.
Before Bar scored, they had a shot in which no one closed down the... I can't remember who took the shot now. And Henderson absolutely came steaming out Peter Schmeichel style to berate the defenders. I mean, after seeing the next couple of pieces of defending, he'd probably be glad to get back to the under-23s, won't he?
He's probably just like going, oh, well, I'm not going to bother berating him for this because this problem is beyond the solution of beration. I mean, United got back into it with a really nice goal, a lovely cross from Luke Shaw and a brilliant header from Anthony Martial. But they didn't create anything else. And listen, we hammered Ole for his substitutions against Arsenal. The subs in this game, the complete lack of clarity or plan. So, first of all, let's talk about the Axel sub. Axel Tuanzebe's first half performance was certainly not warranting of a punishment sub, unless he was supposed to stay back on corners and didn't. But why would your centre-back be the one that stays back on corners? That surely can't be the reason. So I don't understand what Tuanzebe did that was so wrong. That you would take him off and play Matic at centre-back.
It's bizarre.
It's just utterly surreal.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the kind of thing you might do in, I don't know, a Carling Cup game. That's going to age me. Carabao Cup or a Europa League game. Something where you're just going to make a couple of bizarre substitutions or selections in order to rotate and manage the squad.
Yeah.
This is a Champions League. We talked in the last pod about how important this one could be. Right, because it's Paris and RB Leipzig next, and then Istanbul.
Yeah.
So now we could be in a situation, quite conceivably, lose to Leipzig in Leipzig and Paris at Old Trafford. I mean, very conceivable that, and then we're hoping against hope we manage to win the final game. Instead, we could have won this one and been under not much pressure to get a point in the last two, and it just completely flips the narrative around.
Absolutely. And
anyway, you were making a point about subs, but they all came at the wrong time.
Yeah, and I quite liked him making subs early in the second half. The bringing on Cavani and Pogba at 60 minutes to give him time to influence the game. I thought that was quite a sensible strategy. But I actually thought it was quite a big mistake to take off the players he ended up taking off, because you ended up with this situation where United just didn't have the link players. And having said, I thought we should keep Bruno on in the last game. Like, that was because he was not having an all-time stinker. He was, he
was dreadful, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's had a really tough start to the season, I think, in terms of his performances and form. And obviously, he's got a huge amount of credit in the bank. Otherwise, he would be getting the pelters like Paul Pogba does, surely. Because, why else would people only target one of them? But we want and expect more from him, but there's not been much. I mean, the balance just doesn't feel right. Ollie's trying to find a balance here. In the first half, Shaw and Wan-Bissaka actually pushed up really, really high, and that left United really exposed with Matic as the only defender. And we've spent so long talking about how United don't get anything out of the wide players coming from full-back. And so here they took a bit more of a chance, and it really backfired. The balance in midfield with Van der Beek ahead of Matic and Fernandes didn't work, so it's only one game. But how he gets all of these players into the same team, I don't know.
You can't. You shouldn't try. You should be aiming for balance all the time. And I thought Van der Beek always looks tidy, right? And we do need some tidiness in there, particularly when Bruno is in full extravaganza mode, and is the very, very opposite of tidy when he's in that mode. It's very telling to me that we had Pogba, Cavani, Fernandes, Martial, Rashford on the pitch. The total number of shots in this game was 10 from United. 10 shots when we were behind for 60 minutes of the game or something. It's really quite shocking. And listen, they defended really well. They defended in numbers. They defended well organised, lots of kind of real discipline in their defensive line, and they did the thing that teams shouldn't be able to do anymore to stop United, which is just sit in a really low block and challenge United to create anything, because United should have too much creativity to deal with that, but it's just not happening.
I mean, the preponderance of evidence here tells us that we still cannot break teams down when they sit in a low block, and then defensively, 1v1 and in transitions, we are dreadful. So Ollie's always making this trade-off between an extra defender, an extra defensive midfielder and double pivot and getting enough attacking players on the pitch. He just doesn't ever seem to find the right balance because we don't have the right balance of players. I mean, it's the reason why I was just so adamant at the end of last season that we needed a decent defensive midfielder. Di Maria's just... Well, that wasn't a penalty, it was a free kick. Sorry, I'm half distracted by Paris Saint-Germain versus Red Bull Leipzig. RB Leipzig.
Why are you doing this to our listeners, Ed? That's disgraceful.
I mean, for a moment, out the corner of my eye, I was believing that Di Maria had missed a penalty, but I realised it wasn't. Anyway, it's a deeply unbalanced squad, and Ollie makes trade-offs all the time, and right now, more of those trade-offs are failing than coming off.
Yeah, and, he is also doing, on a personal level, quite a bad job at the moment. I mean, the results would suggest that that's the case, right? Not just the results, though, the performances or lack thereof. I mean, we know that this is a group of players that can be coached into, you can coach around the deficiencies in the squad somewhat. And if this group of players play to their potential. And the one thing I would say is, I don't think, like, after Arsenal, I saw a lot of commentary after we'd recorded the game talking about this dread question of passion, commitment, hard work, all those kind of things. I didn't feel a lack of any of those things. It's a lack of a plan that seems to be the problem to me. And you might be right. It might be that the main single biggest problem is there's nothing down the flanks. And, you know, the goal came from Luke Shaw today, right? That is literally where the goal came from.
Don't remember the last time. I'm sure somebody out there knows when it was, but when's his last assist?
I don't know, so that's where there's some opportunity to create something potentially, and maybe the return of Alex Telles will make a difference in that regard. But
so after Arsenal, Roy Keane had a big thing where he was talking about passion and leadership and all that kind of stuff, and it is a cliche, but you expect it from Roy Keane. And Oliver Kay had a piece in The Athletic talking about that, but also Gary Neville's analysis that United has too many square pegs in round holes, you know, the lack of balance in the team, and then the analysis that it's a tactical managerial thing, and layer on top that Ollie has not been given the tools that he really needs, and all of these things are true, all of them, you know, and Harry Maguire, I think it was Harry Maguire, rejected the notion that it's about leadership, said there's leaders all over the squad. And sure, it doesn't have to be Roy Keane style pumping your fists and shouting at everyone and getting in the referee's face style leadership, but it has to be people taking responsibility, you know, like, I don't know, whoever should have been sat in the centre circle making sure United didn't concede from a break. Right? Somebody, right? Is that the captain? Is it the defender? They must have a playbook. They definitely should be coaching that. And if the level of specificity around their defensive coaching isn't up to that degree, that's pathetic, and that's on Ollie. So I've got to believe it's there. So that's, you know, it might not be leadership in the Roy Keane style. It might be responsibility for the role each of them plays and making sure their performance levels are high. And that's why people are frustrated with Pogba, because his performance levels have swung wildly from brilliant to atrocious, you know.
And he's basically
the same's true of many players in this team. You know, their ceiling isn't as high for most players.
Yeah, I think Pogba's been on a spectacularly terrible run of form as well. Like, he's been consistently awful most of this season, basically.
It has. And Ollie's talked about it, talked about his fitness and talked about COVID. And I don't know how long that excuse holds. It feels like 9 games into the season. It's a bit late for that now, but maybe there's a lingering COVID issue with him, in which case he shouldn't be in the side and he should be making his way back to fitness and health. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you know, when you looked at the starting 11 today, there's nothing about that starting 11 that screams, oh my God, this is going to be a massive issue. Like, actually, it looks like quite a progressive team. Lots of nice passes in there. Should be able to work some openings. You got Rashford and Martial to trouble them for pace and interplay and all the kind of things that should be able to break down a team that's defending deep. And Fernandes and Van der Beek and Mata have linked up really well in games, and Matic, for all his many flaws, is actually really nice on the ball. So, you know, that could be a really nice team. And even Maguire and Tuanzebe behind them, you know, so I don't think the starting 11 was a massive problem. I did think the substitutions were highly questionable, and the playing a half an hour of that game with no discernible plan, like, that was a real issue. And you know, I know this is like the most obvious point in the world, and 1,000 people have made it, but the problem with Solskjaer, which is a thing we've talked about a lot with United's managers since Fergie, one of the things that you do to work out how good your manager is you go down the table and work out who'd swap. And I don't know that there's a Premier League team that would say, yeah, we'll swap your manager for ours. And that's That's a crazy position to be in. And of course, he's, a United legend and that carries an enormous amount of weight. And I rarely wanted anything to work out more than Solskjaer at Man United in terms of football. But I don't know how long. I mean, there are Ole ultras, right? Who, really kind of like Terrell Fergie type level of like, you can't ever turn on the manager, and especially not Solskjaer. And I totally understand why you would never want to turn on Solskjaer. But what does the path to victory look like for Solskjaer at this point?
Well, yes. I mean, he's not achieving, after almost 2 years in the job, more than the sum of parts out of this side, at least not on a consistent basis. And that's, if we're not going to get the kind of leadership from the top and the transfer nous to bring in the right kind of players to create a balanced squad, then it's going to have to be coaching. And so there's very scant evidence that Ole is going to, there is evidence in individual players, but as a team and a collective, it blows hot and cold. Obviously, this season, 9 games in, is a microcosm of his entire time at United, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's desperately sad, because he's got a massive bank of credit, of course, because he scored that goal in '99. He's a hero, unless you're so young that you don't remember that. He's got all of that, and he desperately wants to succeed, and he does have a personality in which he is, he's very level set in front of the media. We're not getting the histrionics like Mourinho. I mean, just never. He's always calm, right? And he has apparently the steel behind the scenes to give a bollocking when he needs to. And his shit plays out, he just doesn't rate, right? So he's got something there. But in the crucial bit, that is putting a team on the pitch that is going to overperform its level, it feels like that doesn't happen often enough. And of course, United finished third in the Premier League last season in a jumble of a season, and 30 odd points behind the league winners. And that's where you have to move forward. And that's why it's so frustrating, And of course, people are talking about it this week because Pochettino was on Monday Night Football for hours on end,
with his long hair.
Yeah. And, advertising his wares to the world.
Advertising his hair to the world. Yeah. I don't know how long. I mean, to be honest, I don't know what it would take for me to be like, yes, Solskjaer's got to go. I can't really imagine ever getting to the point of thinking that in my own head. Even if Solskjaer's got to go, I can't be rooting for that. I don't know if I've got the wiring in my brain to ever enable that to happen.
Yeah, and look, the obvious questions and the really boring, cliched questions after that is like, who else? Who else is obviously going to succeed here? Because it might be Poch, maybe he's not won a trophy, sure, but actually he did do the thing, which was take a Spurs side from not being particularly great to being European Cup finalists. Or maybe it's a famous name, Max Allegri. Does that manager really want to come into a brand new league with a shambles of a squad?
I can't.
I'm not sure it's going to work well,
That'd be grim as heck. I'd only be interested in a manager with a reputation for building something over a period of time and inspiring a squad. And, Pochettino would be a super exciting gamble, because we all saw the Spurs. I think what pretty much every United fan wants is an experience similar to watching Spurs over that period of time, where there's a team you can really believe in, playing in a style you can really believe in, with the hope that you're building towards something. Now, if, say that Solskjaer gets sacked this season, lots of people are going to say, yep, Ed Woodward and the players have got him sacked. I mean, Roy Keane can't go 5 minutes without saying these players are going to get Solskjaer sacked, and I just think that is such a ridiculously reductive way to look at it. And I think, saying that Woodward's
he's playing his part as pantomime villain, isn't he?
Well, sure. But the saying Woodward's going to get Solskjaer sacked is reasonable to an extent, because the squad is so ridiculously unbalanced and United are so dreadful at handling transfer windows. That's absolutely fair. But ultimately, the manager's job is to do more, get more than the sum of the parts, which Solskjaer has done at periods of time out of United. At the back end of last season, we played the best football we've played since Van Gaal for 2 weeks 2 months in
Absolutely
March and
nailed
April.
Bournemouth and Aston Villa, didn't we?
No, Bournemouth weren't part of that run, Ed. It was Tottenham, Liverpool, Aston Villa, City. That glorious run of 4 games. That's the one shining light all those years ago. Anyway, this year, Solskjaer did something similar and got United playing way better than the sum of their parts. But that's kind of been completely absent this season, except in 10-minute bursts. Maybe 20-minute bursts, 10 minutes against Newcastle, 20 minutes against Leipzig, a really good performance against PSG of the type that he's always been able to pull off since he took over at United. But it's just been an absolutely terrible start to the season. And this, the one thing that was going for it was those 2 really good results in the Champions League, which have now essentially been rendered kind of like the bare minimum requirement by throwing away a game that United should have been expected to win.
Yeah, and look, that's a really good summary. And it leaves us in a really difficult position now. So, not guaranteed to qualify from this group. And in 15th place in the Premier League. Joy! Woohoo!
Should we take a little break and come back and talk about Seinfeld some more?
Yeah, let's do that.
If you want more from the show in between shows, check us out on the socials. We are NQAT Pod on Instagram, Ed's at NQAT Pod on Twitter, and we are under our real names on Facebook at No Question About That. Boom, 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 and we're back from the break. So playing Everton at the weekend. It's a good job they've kind of lost form, isn't it? Because I wouldn't like to be playing them at their best.
Big defeats for them, really. Kind of coinciding with Richarlison getting sent off against Liverpool and serving a ban. I think he serves the final of the 3-game ban, doesn't he? Yeah, he got sent off against Liverpool. They lost to Southampton pretty comfortably. I'd say maybe Ralph Hasenhüttl. Would you have him? That'd be a gamble.
Well, I mean, the knock against him at big clubs is just that he is the kind of manager that does really well with players who want to impress him.
But we'd get to say Hasenhüttl every week.
Yeah, that's true. That'd be fun.
And then losing Newcastle, and they deserve to lose that one.
Yeah.
Steve Bruce's Newcastle playing the tippy-tappy stuff all around them. But look, they had a great start, beat Palace, beat West Ham, beat Brighton, did all right in the draw with Liverpool.
It was a great game.
Yeah, it was a great game, entertaining. And so we'll see. I don't know how serious James' injury is.
No idea, actually. And he would be vital to them, especially in the absence of Richarlison, who they really have missed. Because I'm sure he would... I mean, it stands to reason, doesn't it? Like, he would create a bunch of space for James to work in anyway. He
does, because the midfield's a bit prosaic without him, really. They played Decore, Allen, and Delph against Newcastle, and it's like 3 sort of defensive-minded midfielders there. Decore's more than that, of course, but on the defensive side of things compared to Richarlison and James. So, and look, Sigurdsson's never really taken to Everton. Didn't justify the £50 million fee. He played and wasn't particularly good against Newcastle. Gomez had a dreadful game. And Calvert-Lewin's had a great start to the season and scored in that one, but needs the service.
Yeah, Lucas Danye's a big miss for them as well. Is he going to be back? I'm just going to quickly look at Everton's physio.
He got sent off, didn't he, against Southampton? So I don't think he will be back.
Right. Well, that's kind of big too. The sending off thing is you miss 3 games if it's violence, right?
If it's straight red, yeah, and only 1 if it's 2 yellows. I can't remember what he got sent off for now.
Right,
so
okay.
I feel like it was a straight red.
Right, so yeah, well, that's good then, because we could do with him not being there. What on earth are we going to get from United?
I don't know. And what system are we going to get? Are we going to get 3 at the back? Are we going to get 4-2-3-1 that we had tonight? Or it's more like 4-1-4-1, wasn't it, tonight? Are we going to get 4-3-3? Are we going to get the diamond? What? So I'm as confused as anyone. I couldn't pick this one.
No, so I've just double-checked, and Danya is available. Richarlison is not available. James is a potential return for this game. Played, Ancelotti said on the 30th of October, had a little problem, played all the games. He needs a rest in this game, and I think he'll be available for the next game. So I imagine that Danya and Rodriguez will both play. I wonder whether he'll tailor the system a little bit. You know what? I really wouldn't hate. I wouldn't hate seeing 3 at the back in this game. I wouldn't hate that. You could
go man for man. I mean, Everton can play 4-3-3, and they do push their fullbacks on. They've been playing Ben Godfrey on the right, and he's not a right back, but Daniel is going to get forward, and he's got great delivery. So there's an option, I guess, to play 3 at the back or to match up. So I don't know. I couldn't pick it. I wonder whether the players are confused, though. I mean, it's fine having flexibility, which clearly Solskjaer believes is important. But when does flexibility become sort of a lack of direction, lack of understanding of what you're doing? I mean, Klopp doesn't. Unfair comparison, Klopp doesn't change Liverpool's formation that much. Pep does a bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Pep changes it every other game, doesn't he? But the thing is, and this, I'm not hammering Solskjaer for this, because I think these are unbelievably difficult times to be a football manager in. So there's just so many games on the back of no pre-season, and it's such a weird atmosphere, and there's so many extra things to think about. I mean, I'm sure everyone in their own daily lives is experiencing just the feeling that everything that you normally do is a little bit harder to do at the moment, because there's an extra layer of thought and all of that kind of stuff. So, like, I do think there's definitely some kind of, you have to have some understanding of how difficult all of this is. But he's changing.
To be fair, like, just to momentarily interrupt, I reckon I could get my 7-year-old and my 3-year-old, who've caused me no end of stress during this past 6 months, to defend better than United did for that first goal. Anyway, yes. Carry on.
But the thing I was going to say is that's the kind of mitigation. On the other hand, he has changed the system and the personnel fairly significantly in almost every game, certainly in the last 4 or 5 games in a row. And then we see this kind of real lack of cohesion and real lack of relationships on the pitch, and we wonder why. Now, this is not to say you've got to play the same starting 11 in the same system every single week, because that causes all manner of problems of its own. And you can see the problem he's trying to work against is the problem of burnout. It's a long season.
And it's going to take some really great squad management to deal with that.
Yeah. And at the moment, the kind of the squad management side of it is costing more than it's saving, So, yeah, I mean, I this is a lot of like half an hour of United are rubbish, Solskjaer's not doing a very good job, Man United are going to win like in this game.
My 3-year-old loves nothing more than to get my pair of boxing gloves, which I use in the gym, and put them on, and then to gleefully bound up to me and punch me as hard as he can. Yeah, he does. Loves it. Fighting spirit, leadership, passion. That's what we need against Everton.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I actually, I don't know, with Danya back and Rodriguez back, I'm going to predict a draw, I guess. A 1-1 draw. There you go. That's my prediction. Because games have gone back to normal now. They're boring again. The games aren't like 6-4 every week, are they?
Yeah, I mean, Southampton completely did for Everton with a straight 4-4-2. We haven't seen that one for a long time at United. I don't expect we will do now. I couldn't pick the system. I don't know what it will be. But I know I can call the problems we have with almost every one of them, and I wonder, we hardly ever played a straight 4-3-3, which is what Everton will do, I think. I don't imagine it'll be the case, and I'm waffling because I don't know what the answer is here, but maybe I'm going to go for 1-1 as well. I find it hard to see United lifting the doom surrounding the team, but it could happen because it's could happen.
That's the thing. They lift the doom all the time. Like that's what's so weird. Like doom, absolute mega doom against Tottenham, won the next game 4-1. Really boring draw against Chelsea, won the next game 5-0. Now, then we've had double doom now, so two helpings of doom. Maybe we'll have the other United turn up, because I know I say this all the time, but if United's good players are on song, they are really difficult for anyone to deal with. We're talking about them having really struggled to give Istanbul something to think about, but on their day, they've got so much in their locker. So, yeah. Anyway.
So who's in the team? De Gea will come back into the team.
Yeah.
Bazaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw is certainty, I think, since Tellez is still watching games on TV. I don't know what dodgy stream he was watching that game on, by the way, but unless he's... did he go with the squad to Turkey?
Why wouldn't he be watching it just on BT Sport?
Look at his Twitter or
the photo.
The picture of him watching. Yeah. Look at that. He is not watching it on BT Sport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, just going to dob him in there.
I am. No, he's watching it on 11 Sport.
Yeah.
That's really good. First player I've seen on social media with a mate cup since Rocco's toast picture, which is some sort of
good
milestone.
call. I didn't quite get the reference for a while, but then you clarified it, which was useful for us, ignoramuses about this. Anyway, that was defence, and then midfield is what? What balance of midfield? Fred come back into this team?
I
McTominay and Fred again.
Yeah.
Is Pogba back on the bench?
Oh, you got me to look at Twitter and it's distracted me. Just somebody has added us. Dr. Medshah has added us saying not a great deal has changed then. And it's a reply directly to the David Moyes Manchester United need to improve in a number of areas tweet.
Attacking, defending, passing, running.
I'm going to read it. But David Moyes says MUFC must improve in a number of areas, including passing, creating chances, and defending.
Well, look, to be fair, he's not wrong.
And then at AW Scotty messaged us to say, looking at that Demba Ba goal, my conclusion is that we can't defend or string three passes together because the players are, I'm going to paraphrase, incredibly thick. So dense, in fact, that light bends around them, creating the illusion that they are lots of space to receive a pass. It's a fair point. Theory. Yeah, no, I have no idea. I guess we will see Fred and McTominay for the hashtag passion. I can't imagine Pogba's going to start because he was so bad against Arsenal and did nothing to warrant a start in this game.
I suspect you're right that Ollie will go back to the kind of tried and trusted McTominay-Fred double pivot in midfield with Bruno ahead of them.
I mean, that's kind of grim, isn't it? All right, that's enough. That's enough doom.
That's enough. And we'll see everyone else on Sunday.
See you then.
Have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.